Welcome to Lead Better. Thank you guys so much for taking a little bit of time out on a Sunday. Usually, I know Sundays are reserved for rest and relaxation, but as leaders grow, sometimes we understand that we make a sacrifice to get better. I want to first of all say, if you can hear me, obviously now I think you can. Put a 1 in the chat for me, just to let me know if my volume is good. That I'm coming through well. Thank you. I see some ones coming through. Awesome. In addition to that, this month's Lead Better. We have a very special guest. Most of you guys know who she is. We have Leiah Roberson of the Little Things Marketing Company joining us today. But before we jump into the interview with her, I want to just give a few announcements. I want you guys to put where you're from in the chat for me. If you will, just put city and state. If you work for Chick-fil-A, maybe how long you've worked for Chick-fil-A, and maybe what your position is in the company, if you're with a Chick-fil-A. Next, we have 2 more Lead Betters coming in September. As you guys know, I introduced Neff as our bilingual specialist. We believe in leadership development for people not only that speak English, but also speak Spanish. And so Neff is going to be putting on a Spanish Lead Better on September 22nd from 7 p.m. To 8 p.m. Registration is open for that. If you know someone on your team that can benefit from coaching and leadership development in Spanish, this is something that I think you guys definitely want to participate in. Also, we have our operator series. We've been really trying to have an operator come on, a Chick-fil-A operator come on every other month. And next month, we're going to have Brad Hinkle of West Texas. I have some familiarity with Brad, and I think he's going to be able to give us some great insights on his journey from quitting his job as a mechanical engineer and becoming an operator. So I really hope that you guys tune into that one. Registration is open for that one as well. And so today we have the marketing specialist. This person I ran across on LinkedIn, and we've been having a lot of exchanges back and forth. I love the content she's producing. If any of you guys deal with her on LinkedIn, y'all know that she's a beast. She engages left and right. She's posting left and right, and she's doing something a bit crazy. She's doing something a little wild, and I'm gonna let her give us a little bit more detail on that. But I want to introduce Leiah Roberson of the Little Things Marketing Company. Leah, how are you doing this beautiful Sunday evening?
What's up, everybody? My mom just joined and it made me happy. So hello, mother.
For sure.
I am good. I just need to say that this is not real life. I am staying with the host family in New Jersey right now because #save money, and their guest room I'm staying in is also their, put everything in the room. So I whipped out this handy green screen. So I just need everyone to know that this is not real life.
Awesome. So Leah, I would love to start our conversation just for you to introduce your story, right? So, how did you come about this idea of creating the Little Things Marketing Company? What was the influence there? And then from that, can you transition into this crazy idea of a countrywide Chick-fil-A tour?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, I just want to say thanks for having me. It's been fun to connect with you, Alex, on LinkedIn, and we've had a handful of calls over the last couple of months, and I was on the podcast with you a couple weeks ago. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm thankful for all of you guys that are tuning in. So my story is a sweet one. It is kind of a lot has happened with my Chick-fil-A world in the last 2 years, I would say. I kind of grew up familiar with Chick-fil-A. My mom started out as a kids director when I was like early teenagers, and she's kind of worked her way up over the last couple of years, like last 15 years, I think it has been. And so I grew up familiar with Chick-fil-A. In fact, all my siblings, I have 7 siblings, and they all worked at Chick-fil-A pretty much the day they turned 15. But my prideful 15-year-old self refused to put on a uniform and go work at a fast food restaurant. And so I boycotted that, and I went the nannying route. And so I nannied for a handful of years, and then I went right into ministry. But when my time came for me to walk away from ministry for different reasons, I found myself in this place where I knew I wanted to start a business, but I had a pretty hard kind of exiting of ministry and transition away from ministry. And so I didn't quite have it in me to start a business yet. And my best friend's dad owned a Chick-fil-A in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, which is where I live. And he graciously offered me a marketing coordinator role at his Chick-fil-A and pretty much just said, hey, I know you're kind of getting back on your feet and figuring out what's next for you outside of ministry. So why don't you take this job? You love marketing. You're good at all of these things. Take this job, figure out what you want to do. And we'd have you as long as you'll allow us. And so I worked there for 8 months, and very quickly, like probably my first week, I was calling my mom just being like, oh my gosh, I love Chick-fil-A. And I wish I would have started earlier. I loved getting to work in the drive-thru. That was like my favorite thing was, drive-through, chit-chatting with guests and helping in the front counter and doing catering orders. I did a lot of social media, a lot of event planning, a lot of catering, relationship building, things like that. But I just found myself ready to kind of take that leap of faith and start a business. And so about 8 months in, I transitioned off staff at my local Chick-fil-A and started my own marketing company with no real intent of ever working at a Chick-fil-A or for a Chick-fil-A again, not for any reason other than just like I was starting my own marketing company. I was working with like local restaurants, businesses, churches, nonprofits, things like that. But I think a month or two into owning my own company and kind of running that whole thing, being an entrepreneur, I was still in these like marketing groups on Facebook. And there was an operator in Omaha, Nebraska that posted and just was like, hey, we're looking to outsource our social media. Is there anyone here, maybe a retired marketing person or someone that would be willing to take on our social media? And so I commented back and just said, hey, I've never done this remotely for a Chick-fil-A, but I know the brand. I love the brand. I do social media marketing full time, and I would love to kind of just give it a go. And so they took a chance on me. This was August of 2022, so 2 years ago. And I started working with them and kind of creating processes and systems geared towards Chick-fil-A specifically. And so worked with them for a handful of months and really kind of mastered that like Chick-fil-A social media type, contract work. And then over time, like word of mouth just kind of spread. And I started getting connected with some stores in Louisiana and just kind of found this opportunity to niche in on Chick-fil-A marketing. And so a year ago, so 1 year later, August of 2023, I decided to start the Little Things Marketing, which was kind of just like kind of this little hub of my marketing company. So I created its own brand, created its own website, kind of its own like client management system, and kind of had my marketing company over here. And then I had the Little Things Marketing where I was working with like 5 or 6 Chick-fil-A's. And that's kind of the story of how the Little Things Marketing began. And then Alex, I know you mentioned just kind of jumping right into this tour that I'm on right now, but you have your finger up.
I guess I want to.
Yeah.
I want to jump in there and say, like, I guess it was kind of strange to have 7 siblings and a parent all working at Chick-fil-A, and you decided to go rogue, and then later on realizing that, hey, this is a great company. This is where I would like to be. And I guess the cool thing is to be able to get a job kind of glimpsing into what your future is, right? You had a chance to start out in marketing at the Chick-fil-A that you were at, and then that snowball into where you are now. So I just wanted to highlight that really quickly before you start talking about the tour.
Yeah. So I think, let me see, there's still probably 4 of them that still work at Chick-fil-A. I think 2 of my brothers, or like 3 of my brothers, my sister, and then my mom still works. There she is right there on her little iPad. So, yeah, it definitely was. I remember my first week being like, oh my gosh, I love this. And I think my biggest regret, obviously the Lord had his plan and my story unfolded the way it did. But I think if I would have gotten into Chick-fil-A much sooner, who knows where I'd be today. But yeah, so kind of fast forward to the end of 2023, I found myself in just a really unhealthy place personally. And if you follow me on LinkedIn, you know that I am really big on just vulnerability and like transparency. So the end of 23, I felt like my whole world was kind of just like crashing in. At the time, I was having my full-time marketing company. I was doing the Little Things Marketing. And then I also had another business that I had bought and flipped and was kind of trying to run as well. So I was running 3 businesses, and I found myself at this crossroads where I had this like real time moment of looking at myself in the mirror and reflecting on my life and being like, what in the world has happened? Like, none of my life was aligned with my values. I'm someone that really cares about like relationships and family and health. And because I was working so much, I was unable to go to the gym. I was drinking a lot. I wasn't able to really be present with the family. And so I just had this moment where I was like, my whole world was like flipped upside down. And I found myself in this place where I was like, Leah, what is wrong with you? And so, long story short, I made the hard decision of getting rid of my marketing company and my other business. And so, within a 3-month time span, I just started letting go of a bunch of clients. I got rid of my car detailing business, and I walked into 2024 with 5 or 6 Chick-fil-A's. And so the reality is that when I let go of all those clients, I was also letting go of like $10,000 of like income a month. But I knew that if I didn't, my life was going to absolutely fall apart. At the time, I was also going through a pretty hard relationship ending with someone that was really important to me. And so I was kind of navigating just a lot personally that just made me realize that like some hard decisions need to be made. And so I walk into 2024 and I was still in not a great place. I was like really sad. I was probably like super depressed, let's be honest. But all I had was 5 Chick-fil-A's. And so I only had enough money to basically pay my team, which was really small, and then pay my bills. Anything outside of that, I was like, I don't know. And so I had this moment where I was like, dude, you have to figure it out. And so, like all entrepreneurs, I figured it the heck out. And I decided to get on LinkedIn and just kind of like figure it out. And so I took a course, I listened to a whole lot of podcasts, I was reading books about LinkedIn, and just started kind of developing a presence on LinkedIn and really specifically kind of creating content for Chick-fil-A operators. And that kind of unfolded within 3 months. I turned my company into working with 5 Chick-fil-A's to almost 15 Chick-fil-A's in like 3 months. So I saw some pretty fast growth, which I was really thankful for. And it helped really sustain me and sustain the business. But, you know, in the back of it, there was still this whole personal world where I was still like really grieving and all the things that heartbreak comes with. And so I went home for a month. I just needed to get away from Winston. I needed to be honest, I needed some extra support. So I needed to be around family. And when I was home, I had this moment where I was like, oh, this peace of mind where being away from Winston and being away from home was actually really good for me in my like healing process. And so I kind of made this decision of like, I need to travel and I need to get the heck away from my home for a second. And so I had this question of like, how can I get away and travel and also continue to grow the business? And so then I was just like, man, what can I offer Chick-fil-A operators that would be enticing to them to like invite me to come to their store? Because I knew once I had the opportunity to get in front of these Chick-fil-A's, I knew once I could tell operators who we are, what we do, I knew that the little things marketing would just grow on its own. And so I thought of, hey, can I offer free 60-minute photo shoots to Chick-fil-A operators, travel America, and just get to hang out and along the way get to share about the business. And so I put it on LinkedIn on a Saturday. My mom can attest to this. I was on the way to Orlando for a family gathering of some sort. And so I put it out on LinkedIn and then I put my phone away for a couple hours and then we're riding back home and I pull up my LinkedIn in the Buc-ee's parking lot and there was like 113 operators that was like, come to me, come to me, come to me. And so I had this moment where I was like, well, like I either, you know, only pick a handful of them or I just full send it and like pack my bag and just travel until it runs out. And I chose the latter. So I left April 30th and I'm set to return December 22nd. And I just completed my 96th store yesterday.
Man,
Oh,
that's awesome. Like I think for anybody who's on the line currently who is thinking about entrepreneurship, running your own business, taking that level of a leap takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of confidence. Did you? I mean, obviously, I guess to me, did you expect that level of a turnout whenever you put the post out?
Heck no. Are you kidding me? No, I still to this day, I mean, I still get bookings like low key left and right. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, what? And when I first launched it, it was free. And like homegirl, like I said, I didn't make a lot of money once I got rid of all my other clients. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this. And so that's when I did the add-ons to where like operators could add on a full gallery or video content or a family photo shoot for pretty affordable. And so that then once they officially went and booked it, they would like add their add-ons that they wanted. And so that's how I'm like funding all the traveling and also generous people that are letting me stay in their beautiful home library like this. So yeah, no, I did not expect it. I thought maybe I would do 50, and I thought at the most I would be gone June, July, and August. Like I thought this was just going to be a cute little summer thing, but see you guys in 2025.
So do you have any interesting stories? I mean, you said you are closing in on 100 stores. I'm sure there's something out there that that's jumped off the page, you know, from a you know what Chick-fil-A is. Have you seen anything remarkable out there that has really floored you that an operator is doing that you care to share with the audience?
I could think of specifics and probably talk for hours and hours. I think the one thing I will say is the thing that I've been so like in awe about. I mean, I leave every single, okay, I shouldn't say that. There's been a couple that I've been like, I could have done without. But there's been like 99% of all the visits I leave just being like so full. Like I just leave like smiling, like I'm like, I just met Santa Claus, because getting to see like Chick-fil-A in action, like I do about 3 a day. So I'm with like 3 different operators. I'm seeing 3 different teams. I'm getting to observe 3 different leadership teams a day. And getting to see, I think the thing that has been so mesmerizing to your point, Alex, is how different everyone does things. You know, that's the beauty of it kind of being like an individually owned and led franchise, is like how different operators run their leadership team and how different operators are involved or not involved, or how different they have certain processes or certain systems, or you know how they're invested in their leadership, and all of that has been so cool to get to watch. And you know, I have the unique privilege of getting to be there for a couple hours, and so I'm getting to have conversations with leaders and operators of just like, oh, so why do you guys do this, or you know, why do you guys, you know, implement this process? And I think the common answer between all of them is always like, how can we care for people the best, and how can we do it the most effectively? And so I think those two things is like such a good like testimony to like who Chick-fil-A is and what, you know, what it stands for in the day-to-day operations at a Chick-fil-A. So there's so many stories, but I think that's kind of my one thing, my one takeaway, if you will, of just like how cool it's been getting to observe, you know, 98 Chick-fil-A so far.
Awesome. So I just want to shift gears a little bit here and just talk about social media management. I know that's the main game for you. I know that's something that you and your team really focus a lot on. You say you have somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 Chick-fil-A's that you work with, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, and so one, how have you leveraged? I know you touched on this a little bit. How have you leveraged LinkedIn on a personal level? Like, could you go into a little bit more detail about how you've done that to scale your business? And then how can you see LinkedIn and other social media platforms help other Chick-fil-A's? Like, how have you been doing that to help the marketing for those other restaurants?
Yeah, it's funny being 27 because my go-to question when I meet people now is, are you on LinkedIn? And everyone always laughs at me because they're like, what? No, what are you talking about? You know, or like, you know, I'll meet a prospect husband and I'll just be like, you know, 5 minutes into meeting him, hey, are you on LinkedIn? Like, that's not a normal thing to do at all. I understand that, but that's how much I love LinkedIn. I am on it probably for 10 to 20 hours a week. So people will sometimes hear and like see me on LinkedIn and be like, well, you've had so much success being on LinkedIn. But the reality is I literally spend half of my week on this platform, whether it's writing content to get ahead, whether it's researching LinkedIn stuff, whether it's connecting with people, whether it's hopping on calls with people I've connected with, whether it's, engaging with people, connecting with people. Like I put probably 10 to 20 hours a week in on LinkedIn. And so I think the three things that I personally do on LinkedIn and prioritize that has been really effective for me that I would encourage anyone to do is connect, promote, and learn. So I use LinkedIn primarily to connect. So I'm connecting with ideal clients, right? So for me, it would be operators and people, in higher level leadership at Chick-fil-A's. I connect with people that are connected to my ideal clients. So I'm connecting with people that may be an LDP or marketing directors or people that are in a store in any capacity. I connect with people that are doing what I'm doing. So people that are also in the Chick-fil-A marketing world, I love to connect with them. And then a big one too is connecting with people who are where I want to be one day, or people who can help me get to where I want to be one day. So there's this whole world of connecting on LinkedIn that is all about just getting connected with people, right? It's big networking. And so I would say that connecting with people is probably the number one way to utilize LinkedIn. Connect with people, really just in Chick-fil-A world in general. Engage with people's stuff. Alex said that I try to be on top of engagement. I try to comment. I try to read everyone's posts. I try to watch people's videos. I try to add to conversations because it's just great. It's a great way to connect with people. It's having these conversations. And then lastly, like I talk about it a lot on my LinkedIn, but I think LinkedIn being a professional platform, it's really easy to lose the art of being human to human. So be authentic, like show up in a way that's not just like salesy. But on that note, I also promote a little bit of TLTM, Little Things Marketing. I kind of follow like a 50-30-20 rule. So 50% of my LinkedIn content is going to be just like resourceful, fun, content people can watch, learn from, consume. That's not anything about book a call, hire us, things like that. 30% of my content is revolving around the Little Things Marketing, whether it's pushing discovery calls, whether it's sharing a testimonial win, whether it's, sharing a video of us with a client, like 30% of what I do. And then 20% of what I post is just personal. It's just, here's a song I'm loving. Here's a coffee drink I'm obsessed with. Here's a fun workout I did this week. And I've really seen that balance really well with my LinkedIn audience of just like having this balance of like connecting, promoting, and then also learning. So that's kind of what I've done personally on my LinkedIn. Now, the question of how Chick-fil-A's can effectively use LinkedIn to kind of grow their own personal business, I think, and I've seen some do it really well, and then I've seen some do it like not so well. But I think Chick-fil-A should start thinking about, especially in the HR talent recruitment world, people that you want to work for you are going to look at your LinkedIn to figure out what is your team environment. What is your team retention? Like, do people want to work there? And so posting things on your LinkedIn, like showcasing the work environment for your Chick-fil-A, celebrating leaders and promotions, like celebrating people excelling in your organization and advancing in your organization, posting leadership development content. All of this stuff shows your audience, right? Which is essentially people in your community, or maybe even other people in the Chick-fil-A world that may be considering moving to go to a different Chick-fil-A to get different experience. Like I've been talking to some people in my own circle that are looking to move to a different Chick-fil-A simply just to get different experience and to work for a different operator and just, get in more Chick-fil-A exposure. And so their first thing that they're doing is going to find the operator on LinkedIn or going to look up the Chick-fil-A on LinkedIn because they want to know, is this a Chick-fil-A that I want to work for? And so what I would love to see Chick-fil-A start doing, and Dakota Berry, he is Chick-fil-A St. Charles. He does it really well where he is constantly posting about leaders getting promoted and things they're doing for their staff and fun things that happen, on shifts, stuff like that. Because if I want to go work at Chick-fil-A St. Charles, and I go look up at their LinkedIn, I'm going to scroll for a couple minutes and be like, wow, this operator really cares in not only the development, not only the sales, but also like the fun the team is having and the health that the team is having, and do my team feel cared for? And so I think that's kind of a couple of tangible pointers as to how Chick-fil-A's can really utilize LinkedIn to grow their business. Because in reality, if you have a stacked team of talent, right? If you have solid talent, you are in return going to just grow your business.
No, I love that spin that you put on the personal mix. And Giovanna put it in the chat if you guys are wanting to know that 50 30 20. Personally, I get heavy in promotion, and I forget that this is social media, not business promotion media. And so I love the fact that you prioritize talking about the things that you're doing personally. I mean, you have, and it seems to me, from the ratios, you have a healthy mix of those things. And I think we're going to do this. We've got some really strong notes about how Chick-fil-A's can use LinkedIn to leverage their workplace culture. I really love the thought process of this is almost like your HR commercial. This is your HR fan page for prospective employees of your team. They can come see all the things that you're doing. Now, I think you can speak to this too. You can probably sprinkle some of those same wins in the other platforms like Instagram, Facebook, things of that sort, but really focusing in on LinkedIn for the primary purpose of showing your community what you're doing from a team standpoint. I love that. Can you speak to your strategy for Chick-fil-A's on other platforms besides LinkedIn?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we only do LinkedIn marketing for like 2 of our clients. Our primary marketing that we do is Instagram and Facebook. I think as far as marketing strategy that we do, we always ask our operators what's important to them that month. And so when we work with our clients, we always like to know, hey, what was important to you? What's going on this month? And so we use that to build their marketing strategy each quarter and then each month. And so we're doing things like figuring out, hey, if they're hiring, if that is 50% of their focus right now, then we're going to kind of create content, create posts that revolve around hiring. If they're really wanting to push mobile order because they're trying to get mobile through, if they're trying to promote catering, things like that. But I think we've seen this shift in marketing, especially with Chick-fil-A marketing. I know they've shared it in certain emails and conferences as well, that we've seen this shift with marketing kind of going to what's called emotional marketing, where it's kind of similar, in marketing, right? It's promotion, it's promoting things, but it's doing so in a way that kind of involves emotions, not in this manipulative way, but I think there's this reality where us as humans, right? The people behind the screen, the people engaging with us on social media, we're all humans, and we as humans are naturally built to connect, and we're built with emotions. And so when we can figure out how to do this emotional marketing in a way that is authentic, in a way that's fun, in a way that protects the Chick-fil-A brand, I've seen it really impact the marketing strategy of our individual Chick-fil-A's. And so, right, what does that look like for a fast food chicken restaurant? It's oftentimes really focusing on the team members. It's focusing on stories. It's focusing on much more than just, hey, buy this chicken sandwich, right? And so, prime example, I just spent the afternoon kind of getting ready for September launching for all of our clients. And so we were doing a lot of posts about the new summer products or the new fall products and things like that. And it's one thing just to post a picture of the sandwich and say, hey, this sandwich is coming tomorrow, come buy it today. It's a different thing to post it with a photo of the team members holding it up and saying, so and so and so and so are so excited to try our new sandwich today, but hey, they're even more excited to get to serve our guests. Come see us today for lunch between 11 to 2 and get your honey pimento sandwich. We've seen a drastic difference in analytics in our numbers of just throwing up a sandwich post with come get your sandwich today versus kind of that emotional marketing approach of, hey, here's some faces in our team. Here's why they love this chicken sandwich, but even more, this is why they want you to come in and why they're ready to serve you. And so if we as marketers, right, whether you're a marketing director, whether you're an operator, whether you are a marketing agency that does marketing for Chick-fil-A's, if we can start thinking about how can we craft each post in a way that leverages that emotional marketing and just get kind of human to human with people on the other end of the phone, I think we'll see a lot of effectiveness and kind of numbers change in that regard.
So, and I'm not asking you to, I'll use this phrase, tell us how the sausage is made, but would you have like a standard these are the three things we want to hit in every post. Like I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a call to action at the end, right? So what is your like standard cadence in building a post? So what is the thought process that goes into that?
Yeah. So I think when when we're writing captions, that's a big thing. Our graphics, our photos, we kind of keep those pretty similar, pretty simple, right? It's team members with the product, or, product photos, things like that. But in our captions, we try to do things like, explain the product. So rather than just saying, hey, come get this new honey pimento sandwich, we love to say like, hey, make your Monday a little bit brighter today by coming into the store and getting a honey pimento sandwich. And then also kind of that call to action. It's not just come and buy this sandwich. It's always, our team would love the chance to serve you. So come in today during our hours of blank and blank. Or we do a lot of, tag your best friend and invite them on a milkshake date, or tag your coworker and give them a subtle hint that you want to come here on your lunch break. We try to, even with the call to actions, it not just be come buy our food. It's, hey, grab a friend and come meet us, or hey, we'd love the chance to serve you, or our operator would love the chance to see your face today. It's things like that there's still a clear call to action, right? It's come to our Chick-fil-A, but it's doing so in a way of tag your friend, bring your kids, come with your neighbors, make a girls' night out of it, bring your coworkers, send this in your friend group chat to give them, your next girls' night idea. So that's kind of how we take the approach with our, how we're writing our captions and things like that.
What would you say is a healthy, so if brand new Chick-fil-A just getting started, trying to figure out those social media, what platform should they start with, and what would you suggest is a comfortable posting cadence throughout the week?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a very tangible question. We always recommend Facebook and Instagram. Those are the two platforms that a lot of people are on. And if they had to pick one, it kind of comes down to the demographic, right? So there's a lot of people on Facebook that are of the little older generation. Instagram tends to be a little bit of the younger generation, but typically Chick-fil-A is kind of this hybrid of both, which is why we encourage them to be on both. I see Michael said, why not TikTok? So I think if I remember correctly, corporate has a rule. Look at Javon's face up there. Corporate has a rule, I think, where Chick-fil-A's aren't supposed to be on TikTok. I think it's for legal reasons, liability, protecting the brand, all that good stuff. TikTok is a sketchy platform. I'm personally on it, but we don't do it for any of our Chick-fil-A's. We encourage Chick-fil-A's not to be on it, just because it's risky. I think there's a lot of risk involved. And I do know that corporate has a rule against TikTok. So it's one of those things too, where it's that's why we don't do it. We're not trying to be liable. I'm trying to be on corporate's good side, Javonna, do you know of the specifics of that?
Yeah, you're not allowed to be on TikTok as a platform, but you can reproduce TikTok videos or trends, and you can do them on Facebook or Instagram. But you have to be really, really careful with what you post. And also even the music side of things, you're not allowed to put certain musics, or you have to give them credit for the music. But yeah, TikTok is a no-no. Don't do TikTok.
Yeah. There, and I think that's one of the questions you asked, Alex, too, is just what's trending in the, the world of stuff. And that's another thing is it's easy to think, oh, we just hop on these trends and get clout and all that stuff. But there's also a reality of hey, we or you guys as Chick-fil-A operators are being entrusted to protect the brand. And as a Chick-fil-A operator, as a team of Chick-fil-A, you are not being trusted to get the most views and get the most clout on social media. You're being trusted with protecting the brand. And so if your motives on social media is to get the most views, then I could bet you that you're the Chick-fil-A doing trends that you probably shouldn't be, but if you're trying to be on social media in a way that protects the brand, honoring your team members, not posting explicit stuff, being family friendly, then you kind of help navigate. You kind of can use discernment to figure out, okay, which trends should we do and can we do? Because Chick-fil-A corporate's not trying to not be fun, right? They're not doing the TikTok rule. They're not doing the trend rule because they don't want to be fun and they don't want to be cool. They're doing it because they see their brand worth protecting, and they've entrusted us as operators and us as the team of Chick-fil-A people to protect that. So Alex, when you asked the question about like trends that we see on social media, personally, yeah, they're funny and, you know, they're great and things like that. But there is another filter that we have to think about of using our discernment to figure out, hey, sure, participating in this trend may get us X amount of views or come across, you know, to where we're really cool, but is it protecting the brand? And if there's hesitation there, I would encourage Chick-fil-A's to like, better not, you know?
I also think too, Leah, like just what you talked about with authenticity, like look at what Chick-fil-A corporate's putting out. Look at, you know, the red couch and the trends that they do with the red couch and like how it's all about caring for the guests, but also caring for the team member. And so I think that authenticity and even the way that, you know, Chick-fil-A is headed, about like occasions with guests, like where can we fit into their lives? I think that you're leading the trend. I've looked at some of your stuff. I looked at your LinkedIn as well, but like you're leading the trend, and that's where we should focus our marketing strategies, specifically on Facebook, Instagram, and even in LinkedIn. Like we're about to start a LinkedIn at my 2 restaurants, more for the catering side of the business, you know, to connect with other businesses. But I think you're right. People want to see authenticity. They want to see vulnerability. They want to see real. I'm not a big SMP poster. Like when I see a social media publisher post, I'm like, that kills me, because what our people want to see is our team. And they know when Betty doesn't work at our stores. And so I think that you're right about all of that, when it comes to that authenticity piece about how we should be promoting Chick-fil-A online.
Yeah, that's good.
And so guys, I want you guys to leverage the chat function. In a few minutes, we're going to get to a Q&A section where Leah is going to be able to field questions. I see we have a question from Dawn. And Dawn, just to let you know, we're not ignoring that question. We will reserve that question towards the back half of this. But I'm going to give Leah another 5 minutes or so to continue to talk about the work that she's doing with the Little Things Marketing Company. And so you've already kind of answered the question about the trends. You've already touched on that. But I want to ask you, and I think we had a conversation about this before, beyond social media management for you, what is the future of your company as it relates to the marketing products and services that you want to render to Chick-fil-A's?
Yeah, I think Giovanna had her hand raised. I just want to make sure she's not.
Oh, I'm sorry, Giovanna, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm asking because the question you asked before, I was trying to put this on the chat so that people could see it. The platforms to start with are Facebook and Instagram, but what would you say is the cadence piece on that? Like how often?
Oh, yes. So I think it's just what can you maintain? I think consistency is number one priority, and then second is quality. So if you know that you as a team right now, with just where you guys are at capacity wise, can only do a Monday and a Thursday really well, then just do Monday and Thursday to start. If you are, hey, I'm going to start with posting every single day and we're just going to throw out, you know, half done posts, it's actually going to be ineffective and actually going to hurt you in the long run. So I would say do what you can consistently do, and then do what you can consistently do well. And so I would always say like 3 posts a week is a sweet spot. Our clients, we start with a 3 to 4 at minimum, and then a 5 to 6. And so I would say start with that 3 to 4, get to where you're building processes to make it consistent and make it quality. And then as that happens, see about increasing and throwing in an extra post here and there. But yeah, I think consistency and quality is more important than just like a certain number, you know, a sweet spot. And then, yeah, Alex, as far as kind of the future of the Little Things Marketing and the services we offer, you know, we started out just being social media marketing, but over the last, I would say 6 months, and just conversations with our current operators, as well as conversations with operators that we're meeting on the road, we're starting to ask questions like, hey, what else can we do for you, right? What else can we do? How else can we serve your organization? And so we have started doing things and adding things like event planning, where we're looking at their numbers and we're creating events for them. We're executing family nights, bingo nights, dogs in the drive-through, race car races, Hot Wheel races. We're kind of event planning for them, to where we execute about 80 to 90% of it, and they kind of execute that day of stuff. So we've been doing a lot of event planning. We do a lot of campaigns, so spotlight campaigns where we look at their numbers and figure out they're trying to increase, you know, mobile app usage. Then we'll maybe create bi-weekly or weekly or monthly campaigns based off of their spotlight and pull the ROI with that each month. We're doing things like kind of helping with catering outreach. So we're reaching out to people in their community to push catering and increase catering. We're essentially kind of creating this a la carte of services to make up a marketing director for stores that don't have it. And so something that I like to say, I think I really talked about on the podcast, is we're willing to do as much as a store needs. So if they need 100% of a marketing person, we have services that can make up that 100%. If they have a marketing director that is good on 70% but needs an extra 30% of help here, whether that be social media, whether that be graphic design, whether that be event planning, then we're willing to jump in and do that 30%. There are stores that need 50-50, we meet them at the 50. So that's kind of where we're at right now, and where we're continuing to go is just really mastering those other processes and systems and things like that. So if you do follow me on LinkedIn or connect with me on LinkedIn over the next few months, you'll kind of see us rolling out more of these services as we start soft launching them and really perfecting them and getting ROIs to be able to share. So hopefully that answers your question.
No, it does. And I think we're approaching the time where we'll field questions that are in the chat. There's still time for you guys to put questions in the chat. My dear friend Bhavik has put a question in the chat that I think you've canvassed already, but I think we all can stand to hear that answer again. But I want to say thank you so much for giving us, I think all of us have learned something here as it relates to how we should go about our social media management, how we can go about just increasing our presence on LinkedIn. And there was a phrase that you used during the previous conversation that you and I had. It was human to human. That vulnerability, that transparency, that authenticity. I think Giovanna had put that in the chat earlier. I think that is probably the foundation and the core in which a great marketing plan, specifically social media plan, can be constructed upon. So I want to thank you so much for that. I think I saw a hand raised from someone. Do you want to unmute yourself? And I think it was Jennifer Tyndall had her hand raised. If not, we can move on to the questions in the chat. Ashley, you want to take that on?
Sure. So Don said, what about maintaining a Google business profile?
Yeah, Google Business. I was at someone's store, and I don't want to say in case they don't want me because they're on this call right now, but I was at a store. I'm not even going to say when because people could figure it out, where the operator was like, care less about Google Business. People on there are wild. They're going to say whatever they want. It's not worth maintaining. Let it be, let it be. And okay, fair. Like, people be wilding out low key, but also, like this morning when I woke up and wanted to figure out where to go for coffee, the first thing I did was go on Google. And the first thing I did was look at the Google reviews of said coffee shop. So while there is an argument of like people are just going to be wild and, trash talk Chick-fil-A because you're Chick-fil-A, there's also this reality of like, hey, again, in that world of protecting the brand, like if you want people to come to your store, you have to understand people use Google, and people will Google the closest Chick-fil-A, and people will see that there's a Chick-fil-A at every corner maybe of your city and want to then figure out which one to go to. So there is a reality where like Google Business is important to maintain, and also Google Business is really easy to maintain. So it's one of those platforms where you put someone in charge of it and they know how to use it. It's like, it's not that hard of a thing to do, It's people share reviews, and if it's bad, respond back, showing the public like that you're responding, that you're handling it. Like even if it's one of those things where they're not being truthful, like share the truth of what happened in a respectful, like polite way. But there are certain things that you can do on Google. You can share events on Google. You can do promotions on Google. You can run ads really easy. Google has a phenomenal ad, super easy platform. So I do think that Google Business is worth like some of your attention. I don't think it needs to be your number one priority. So if you're like, we can't even do Instagram and Facebook, how are we going to focus on Google Business? One, just know it's not going to require a lot of your time, TBH, but then also, not me talking in abbreviations, to be honest, but then also it is, I think, has an impact on your business. And I think it is worth delegating someone to kind of at least just keep eyes on it,
And I'll speak to that. And I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I know that's maybe a ball or a plate that isn't spinning the healthiest in our restaurant. But I will say, once upon a time, if you go through there and look at the reviews, they're there. They're there on Google and they're there on Yelp too. And so, yes, we have our internal controls, CEM. We look at those comments, we look at the cares comments, but go over there and glance on Google every now and then. You might be surprised, even just apart from the marketing piece of it, the operations piece, we can definitely learn from that feedback. So awesome. Thank you, Leah. And thank you for that question, Dawn.
Okay, next question. How to have a great LinkedIn profile? So I guess just the quick 3 tips.
Yeah, I think great 3 tips. I would say consistency, like, again, posting consistently. I try to post every single day. I think in the last 3 months, I've missed 3 days. So I, try to post every single day. I think that's 1 is consistency. I think 2 is engaging with people. So it's one of those things, don't just take, but also give. And don't just give, also take. So engage with other people's stuff. Leave comments on people's posts, read their stuff, share their articles. And then I think number 3 is just be authentic. Like, no one wants to have a sales robot, right? No one really cares about that. And so I saw a big shift in my LinkedIn when I actually started just getting honest, right? When I started actually writing posts that were just like authentically me and stuff like that, I saw a huge leap in my engagement and connections. And now, when I'm on the road and I'm meeting people and I'm meeting operators, there's always point of connections and touch points, because everyone knows I does CrossFit. So everyone knows I do CrossFit. So that always comes up, or songs I'm listening to. Or I had an operator that saw my previous post where I shared my favorite sparkling drink, and he had a case waiting for me at the store when I got there. So it's a great way to just connect with people, and again, kind of just get human. So that's kind of, and also there's so many resources out there of LinkedIn. I have a playlist on my Spotify, but it's titled, I'm not going to share it yet because I need to change the title. So don't go look for it yet, but because I titled it something funny. Anyways, but maybe I'll share it on my LinkedIn later, because it's just like a playlist of just like podcasts that I love listening to. And I listen to them over and over again, just because there's always something to learn. So hopefully that answer your question. And if you haven't connected with me yet, do it right now, respectfully.
Yeah, and Bhavik, and I'm not going to put all of Bhavik's business out there, but he resides in one of the country's most beautiful cities. I love where Bhavik is from. And Bhavik, you can put that in the chat if you want to. It's up to you. I'm not gonna expose you completely, Bhavik, but Bhavik lives in a place that is near and dear to my heart, that I think if you're not doing business there, Leah, I'll tell you offline. I'll tell you offline.
Cities are big. What in the world? Why are you acting like he's part of the FBI?
No, I'll tell you offline. It's all good. There, he said he's from New. Oh yeah, I love
Alex. You play too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Next question: do you ever do marketing consulting? Example: grand openings, helping develop a marketing strategy and marketing goals.
Yes, Michael, I do. I would love to. I'm assuming you're at a Chick-fil-A. I'm actually that's kind of my role in the business. So I have a team that does a lot of our operations, social media, event planning, all that good stuff. I kind of take on the role of consulting. So I literally next week, I'm going to Connecticut for a few days to do some marketing kind of team consultant work. And then I'm going to Atlanta for 2 days to do some consultant work as well. So that's a great thing for stores that have marketing directors that they love and trust, right? Hear me say, I'm not trying to come after marketing directors' job around America. I am for marketing directors. I would actually love and rather come to stores for a couple days and do consultant, see what they're doing, share anything I can. I would love to get to share. One of the things I wrote in my notes that I don't think we've quite touched on is the importance of having processes and systems for social media specifically. A lot of times I'm at stores and they're like, just yesterday, a marketing director I was with was like, "Oh shoot, today's the last day for maple pepper. Hey, hold up the sandwich. Let me make a post really quick." And now I'm like, "Girl, it's 5 p.m. Like your day's almost over, and the sandwich only has 4 more hours to live." Like, but had she had thought, right, and made a plan of August, which is what we do, make a plan for the month ahead, figure out what days products are going, what days products are coming, building a plan, and then going and scheduling it all out. Like if we can get ahead of it, if we can get consistent, if we can get intentional, and all of that, I think happens when we have processes in systems, which isn't that like in the branding of TPE or like these little leads, or maybe that was just in my tagline. I don't know. But anyway, so yes, I would love to come do consultant. I do stuff for grand openings, like meeting with them to figure out the grand opening date and creating strategies for 3 months leading up to it, the week of grand opening, giveaways to implement, how often to post, what these posts should be about, 3 months after they grand open, all of that. So yeah, Michael, if you're interested, or any of you out there in some like consultant type stuff, I would love to hop on a free call, give you anything I can, just like share anything that I can. And then if you find it of value, I'd love to come hang out with you guys for a little bit. And yeah.
That's awesome. And where can they, I guess, connect with you at?
LinkedIn. Shout out. If you go to my website, thelittlethings.marketing.com, there's a place there where you can book a discovery call, which is just a time for us to chat on the phone. It's free. It adds it to your calendar, adds it to mine, and we can just start the conversation there. I typically use those calls to just say, hey, what are you guys doing right now? Where are you guys at right now? What do you want to be doing? Where do you want to be? And how can I help you get there? And so that's a great way to just kind of start the conversation of how a partnership could go, whether it's any of our services, whether it's consultant stuff, whether it's an event you guys have going on, you want some coverage for, any of that. Discovery call is a great place to do. But also you can like literally just hit me up on LinkedIn, send me a DM, and I'll just text you my number and then we can hop on a call too. So either of those way work.
Awesome. And one more question. What's the best way to start to grow catering through social media?
Yeah, catering is always a big priority of stores because it's a great way to increase sales in a way that doesn't impact operations, you know, in a huge hurtful way. So honestly, one of the ways that we've seen work really well for catering is like doing giveaways where, you know, we've done some giveaways like giving away a free medium nugget tray, comment your business below. And then what we do is we capture all those businesses, add them to a list where we then start doing, you know, relationship building with them, and we pick one of them for a win. So using giveaways to promote catering is a really fun way to do it. I think also kind of going on that emotional marketing, when you do catering sales, if there's a way to take a photo of, you know, when you make this catering delivery or when a team comes to you and picks up their catering, taking a photo and then doing a post that says what their catering order was for. So not about how much we did, not about all the sandwiches we gave them, not about how much money we made from them, but hey, we got to help this office team. I just talked with an operator here that is going to be providing lunch for a cancer treatment center that my best friend's mom is getting cancer treatment at right now. And from a marketing perspective, right, that's a great way to promote catering. Not at all about the sales, not at all about what we provided for them, but hey, we're getting to treat this team of doctors. We're getting to provide lunch for these team of doctors so that they can focus on taking care of their patients and not have to worry about having their lunch packed or brought or delivered to them today. That's what Chick-fil-A catering does, right? It's not about the sale. It's not about what we provided. It's not about anything of that, but it's, hey, this is what Chick-fil-A catering provides and does and buys the guests that are partaking and utilizing the Chick-fil-A catering. So hopefully that kind of gives you some ideas, Noelle.
Well, awesome. So I think that will conclude our Q&A session. Thank you so much, Leah. Hang tight for us. I want to definitely wrap up with you.
Tap into the Pivot Experience where we help young, hungry entrepreneurs move on to the next step.